Hello everyone and welcome back to our England DNA Burton Albion series. I am so excited for this episode. I really can't wait to show you my new training schedule for next season, the season long-term training plan, which is what I've been doing for the last, I don't know how many hours it's been. Yeah, I had sort of like two parts to this. One was, how do I go about doing the schedule? Do I do like one topic for the entire month or do I break it up? So we'll get into that in a second. But we'll also go through the training of the players this season and just do a quick review of every player and see whether they got better or got worse or pretty much stayed the same. And we can go through each player with that. So we'll start off with the players first and we'll review how they did in the season just gone. And then we'll finish off the video with looking at the training regime going into next season and all that stuff going forwards. We also might play the first game of the next season. I honestly don't know right this second. Let me see how long the video actually is when I go through everything, and I'll make a decision then. If it's not that long, I might throw the first game in for the next season, because we're not going to do any transfers, right? So the summer transfer window is normally a large part of a save where you do a lot of work and you put a lot of time in. But obviously for me, there is nothing to do. So I guess, yeah, that might be what I show anyway. So that's also a little thing that could be upcoming. Okay, let's start off with the captain of the club, John Brayford. Now, he's gone down a little bit in different areas. Obviously, he's, 35 years old. So it's to be expected in some ways, of course. But you get a big +1, and here are some of these attributes. As you can see, some did start to trend up. There was a point around October, it was around this sort of time actually, where he actually started to trend up on some attributes. But they trended back down, and he had a big drop off. I think there's this marking here. It seems to have gone down. Yeah, marking went through a bit of a fluctuation there, as did a few others. And is it crossing? I think has notably gone down there. But like acceleration, if we just take that as a graph, there starts on 11, ends up on 10. Ends up on 9. Sorry. Ultimately, like he didn't drop as much as I thought he might. Going forwards, I have to think about a regime where I'm actually able to prevent all the players from decline. I think that's a really important thing in a no signing sort of save, where you've got to be able to keep players at their prime for as long as you can, right? So that's definitely something we need to think about when it comes to our own new gen players going forward. We're talking like 15 years into the game at this point, so long time to go. But there you go. John Brayford declined a little bit. Sam Hughes had a very indifferent season. He was I'd say my most important centre back, and the most erratic at the same time. He was quite frustrating, but overall he's probably the best one on paper. And in performances, he did pretty well as well. Most of the time did Sam. He was all right. I can't blame him too much. But he was a bit frustrating. Strength went up a little bit. Everything seems to have pretty much stayed the same, but positioning went up. So positioning there starting on 11, it goes up to 12, and he trends up a little bit on that. Anticipation's gone up a tiny bit. Anything else I want to look at? Balance, acceleration, agility. Agility took a little bit of a decline and then went up and sort of stayed up towards the end. And acceleration has finished, I think, around where it started pretty much there. Pace, however, looks like it's gone up a little bit. So it trends up a tiny bit here, goes from 10 to 11, and then stays across the board at that point. I don't know if we want to give like our own grading system to these players for their development and their training and stuff across the save, but if I had to give Sam something, I'd probably give him like a C plus maybe even or a B minus, something like that. Just because, like, he played well in matches, he played decently well, he improved a little bit, he didn't stagnate completely, I think he improved a tiny bit, but he could have improved a lot more if we would have got the schedules right, the training right, that kind of stuff right. And I'm going to get into what I think I did wrong this year. In coaching, when reviewing any session that you do, there's two things that you always look at, right? It's what went well, and even better if. The reason why those are good is something always went well and something could always have gone better. No, there's never a perfect session. There's never a complete disaster of a session. There's always something in each of those brackets, right? So it gets you to start thinking. About something that did actually occur in the session beyond your preconceived, I guess, notion of how it went. Yeah, I'm gonna give Sam. If we give Brayford, I'm gonna give Brayford like a C minus and Sam a C plus for now. Again, trying to ignore the playing abilities of Callum Butcher from a development standpoint, I'm going to give Callum Butcher a D. I don't think he improved that well, and he didn't ever seem to be consistently progressing on the attributes. He was never really training that well either in his training ratings, so I wasn't really that happy with him. And as we can see here, the current ability of him, according to the coaches really started to not rate him very highly as we get on the list there. Like, he ends up going from, in their opinion, a 3.5-star player in the squad to a 2.5, which is quite telling. And ironically, right in line with what I was thinking, so that's good. I'm going to give Oshalaja here a C, because he started to stagnate at one point. I think he sort of stopped it, improved a bit, then he re-stagnated almost. So maybe like a C minus, probably is what it should be, a C minus. Yeah, he dropped. This is exactly what I mean. Again, look at that. So it's like a 3-star across from the coaches. They think he drops a lot, then it goes back up a little bit. Again, that's just the opinion of the coaches. I never look at that really. Again, it just happens to coincide with what I was thinking at the time. It's like they can hear me. Maybe the assistant manager is pretty good. Who knows? Connor Shaughnessy. Now, I think I'm going to give him a C+ because he was pretty consistent throughout the year, and I just think that there's a really good chance that he is just playing at his ability and he's never going to get any better. I mean, somebody can look in the editor and tell me I'm wrong in the CAPA. Please don't tell me in the comments. Not yet anyway. But I'm just guessing that. I just get the feeling that he wasn't playing that badly. We seemed to train okay. Wasn't really improving, though. And it could have been just a combination of the way I set up training and the fact that he's maxed out his potential ability a little bit. Could be the two factors there. Who knows? But progress-wise, yeah. And again, like he started off the season and ended the season the same opinion, really, of the coaches. So that computes a little bit. Borthwick Jackson, I would probably give like a D. Didn't improve at all. He didn't improve at all the way that I thought he was going to improve. So, yeah, I'm quite upset with I'm not happy with his development at all. What do the coaches think? See, I disagree with the coaches on this. They think he started and finished at the same sort of level. But I see this little trend down. I'm having him still about here. He didn't improve in his development, and he never seemed to do that well on the pitch. I know we don't care about that in this instance here, but yeah, I'm not happy with his development. Right, Tom Hamer. I'm actually really annoyed at him because he started to develop really, really well, right? And then like he had like a +1 on his acceleration, +1 on his agility at one point, and he just lost it all. He started trending backwards. Let's see if the coaches agree. They agree in part. Around the sort of like December mark, he was really in form, and it's just completely like trended back down. So it's yeah, I'm really disappointed in Hamer. I'm going to give him like an E because he's young. He's clearly a good player and plays well. He's got everything going for him, and he just didn't improve at all. Maybe him learning to play, I don't know, is it centre-back naturally? Because I don't think he was a centre-back at the start, was he? In fact, I thought he was a right-back naturally, so it could have been that, to be fair. So if it was, that's a shame, but he was doing really well, so I'm gutted about that. I'm only going to go through players that have played a minimum of 10 starts, because otherwise, you know, there's no point going through those other players, especially not in the first season, maybe in the future seasons. But yeah, so Kamwa, I thought I'd probably give a C+. I'll probably give him like a good C. By the way, if you've got an idea for a scale, I could have done 1 to 10, I suppose, because that's what the game uses for training ratings. I guess we could have given him one for the season. So yeah, if anybody's got any ideas of like a training like rating system for the end of the season, do let me know whether you think that like A star to F is good, or if it should be 1 to 10 because how the game does it, or anything in between. Do let me know in the comments if you've got an idea on that. I guess now I've started on the A star to C, I guess I'll finish it, I guess. So yeah, Bobby Campbell, I'm going to give a solid, I think, C+. C+. Not overwhelming, but good, solid, consistent, does a job. If the season would have lasted a bit longer, it could have gone higher, but we didn't really get the chance to see it. And yeah, he ended up higher than what he started according to the assistant manager, so there you go. Terry Taylor. I'm giving Terry Taylor a B+. He improved right throughout the season. We've got a lot of +1 and +2s there, but even the ones where it hasn't got it, like he was just fantastic all season. Look at that. Look at the difference in that. He's gone from a solid 3-star player to solid 4 in the opinion of the coaching staff. I just thought that his progression was really good in a lot of his attributes all season long. And yeah, I'm really happy with him. And not just attributes, but the key ones as well. So Terry Taylor, I'm really happy with. I couldn't be much happy with him at all. So he's just a tiny, tiny bit short of an A. But B+, definitely Terry Taylor. Kieran Gilligan, I'm going to give a B- to. He improved quite a lot this year. And the reason why he's given a B is that he did this with a lot less playing time than some of the other players. Now, what was his minutes in the end? Gilligan? 2005 or 2,300 there. So a lot of those minutes, though, were coming off the bench for like 20 minutes at a time. So if you compare him to like Terry Taylor or to Shaughnessy, who played central fields, there's a few game difference between Gilligan and Shaughnessy there, as you can see, but it's fairly close. So Carriol completing her to F in all departments. Nothing to be said there. Doesn't deserve any more time from me on this video. Johnny Smith, F or E, I'm not sure which one, because he started off looking very, very good. Like he was playing well. He was progressing very nicely, his attributes. It looked so good, like he was going to be one of our best players and one of the best players in League One. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like to us. He was going to be one of the best players in the league. And then he just completely plummeted in all departments. So, I don't know. I'd have to give it an E or an F, unfortunately. Like, he really did disappoint me in the second half of the season. And I just hope that there's room for him to grow. Now, my theory is, again, a combination of the training stuff that I did to him in the schedules and the fact that he learned a new position, I think, is what hammered him. But still, regardless, I can only judge him on his progression, and I have to give him an E or an F. Sorry, Johnny, but it wasn't great, and I'm a bit worried about him, actually. Charlie Lack, I'm going to give him a C+. Steady, positive, and with a lot less game time than the other players, so C+ for Charlie. Joe Powell, I'm going to give a B minus 2, not quite a B plus. I'm going to give him a B minus, I think. I suppose I could give him just a B, couldn't I? I'm going to give him B, actually. He progressed nicely throughout the year. He consistently improved as a player. Didn't have too many periods where it looked like he was going to trend backwards or downwards, and was just consistent in his training, consistent in his training rating. And again, performance is something that I'm trying not to factor in, but obviously did well in those as well. Davis Keller Dunn, a solid C. Didn't really improve, maybe got a little bit worse, but did seem to train pretty well. And I think he will trend back up next season. So for now, let's give him a C, but that could change. Sam Winnell, I would probably give him like a C plus. Like, he didn't really improve, but he didn't really get much worse. And he's 32 years old. So I don't know. His finish went up by 1. He did pretty well. I'm going to give him a C because he sort of managed to keep himself at the level that he is, which is all we need from him for the next couple of years. I'm going to give Victor a B because he actually has improved at a few of the attributes there. And you can see, look at the opinion of the coaches as well. I thought Victor was really good at his training, always had a good training rating, slight overall improvement in physical ability. Yeah, he's actually been quite good, Victor. I'm quite happy with him. So, yeah, definitely be giving Victor, I think, a B. I'll give him a solid B there. Good lad, Victor. Well done. Out of interest, the goalkeeper pretty much stagnated and did exactly the same all the year round, which was fine because he's good enough to be, he's the best. He's easily a promotion level League One goalkeeper. Is he a good enough goalkeeper to survive in the Championship? Probably just as well. So that's lucky for us. We don't have to worry about getting a goalkeeper in. And he's 29. So probably got another 7 years of him being good enough to play for us. So there's no rush on a goalkeeper, but that is one area that I am concerned about with our intakes and stuff. So we'll see. Okay, so yeah, overall, I would say that I'm slightly disappointed with the returns that I got from the players in terms of their development. The results are really good on the pitch. We did well to get promoted in the league, obviously. But yeah, I think development-wise, we could have done a lot better. And yeah, it really made me think hard about how I wanted to go about things next year. So this is the schedule that we used for every time we had a 7-day break between the two games. Right, whenever there was a game on a Saturday, and the Saturday we used this schedule here. So let's have a look at it there. So we've got both kinds of set pieces in there in terms of corners. We've got defensive shape and attacking movement and match tactics, all in terms of things that are going to affect the next game. So actually, there's 5 things there that are going to go directly into the next game. You've got defensive shape, attacking movement, the match tactic, attacking corners, and defensive corners. All 5 of those things have a direct impact into the next game. So that's already 5 things there that we could have put something else in that would have been better for player development, but it's good for matches and match results, right? So on reflection, I probably had a bit too much in terms of that. And we've also got 3 physical things in terms of endurance, quickness, and resistance. So it's a really well-balanced week for results, ironically, actually, because we've covered the 3 physical things early on in the week, so the team gets recovered easily, nice and easy for the game at the weekend. It's actually a really well-built schedule for like maybe more of a results-based schedule. After the teams got to know each other pretty well, team cohesion's really high and all that kind of stuff, because team cohesion, it doesn't really do much for either. So ironic, I created actually a pretty good schedule that's probably going to be very good for us going forwards, but maybe not for player development. And I think we actually saw that, didn't we, quite a lot? We saw a lot of players there that didn't really developed that well going forwards, but they played pretty well. So that does sort of link up a little bit with what we've been seeing in the whole previous year, right? That's what I saw anyway. So I'm quite happy with that being the conclusion. When I've looked into it and I've realised just how much, for example, if we were to go and edit this now, attacking movements, if we look at that match preparation, so it does affect things as well, of course. And it also improves tactical familiarity, team cohesion, and attributes, individual roles is all it really sort of does. So the last possible thing it can impact is attributes, and it doesn't do very much of it either. So that actually takes quite a lot away. It's going to be the same for most of those other ones as well, which is, look, defending corners, for example. You can see that it doesn't really do an awful lot, does it? So on reflection, I think we can do much better. And I spent all day putting this thing together for you. So I have created a effectively season-long plan. Really, it's 9 months development and then 1.5 months of trying to win is how it's sort of balanced out. But let's have a look at it in all the periodization in terms of the micro, the macro, and the mesocycles, and let's just go through everything, short, medium, long term, and let's see how it all looks. Now, first of all, apologies if the text is a little small for you on the screen. I'll try and make this as clear as I can. But what you've got here is a 9-month schedule, effectively. So we start off month 1, which is going to be for us in July, and then it's going to go through August, September, all the way through up to March, right? So if you think back to the earlier episode where I talked about the 24-week plan where we did in possession, defensive third, then out of possession, final third, and we go through that sort of schedule, and we use that sort of schedule as a plan for this, that's what we've done here. So my first dilemma was, right, okay, if we're going to do it in that way, if we're going to split the pitch up into thirds and how we're going to train, if we're then going to do like in possession, defensive third for a period, then out of possession, final third for a period, how long is that period? Because a grassroots team, that period might need to be a whole month because you only train once a week, and that's 4 sessions to do one block of work. But we're a professional team. We can train up to 5 or 6 times a week because there's normally a match at the weekend, right? So I was thinking, right, do I go an entire month in FM training the same thing, or do I do it for 2 weeks, then pivot to something else for 2 weeks, which is more traditional with what academies do? You wouldn't maybe spend a whole month on something, but maybe you would do 2 weeks on in possession defensive third, then 2 weeks on out of possession final third. 2 weeks is probably more realistic, and I thought, well, we're trying to do this realistically like a real academy, so let's start off there first. Let's start off trying to make it like it's a real academy style project, because that's what this is really, is I'm trying to apply a real life youth England DNA program and apply that to a professional team in the game and see how much we can develop young players. That's the sort of the idea here, right? The idea is player development is going to come first and the matches are going to come secondary to the player development in this save. But if the players improve, then that should in turn make the results of the match easier. So that's the way it works. Anyway, so we've got weeks 1 and 2. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so you can see what you can actually see here. So here's the overview. The reason I've blocked it off here in different colours isn't that they signify anything different. They're actually exactly the same. So if we just look at the first 2 months here, you can see this a bit more clearly now. I've broken the month into 2 sections. We've got weeks 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. So in week 1 and 2, we are doing in possession defensive third, right? So playing out from the back, think that kind of stuff. And we're going to do that for 2 weeks. Now, primary unit is a centre back. Well, I've got one position like centre back. Really, that's all of them. So that's both CDMs or both centre backs. So all 3 of them in our case, that kind of stuff, right? But you can do it. You can think of it in any case. Whatever formation you play, this would apply, right? Because in the game, you can't really specify exactly what you want. So week 1 and 2, we're going to be doing in possession defensive third. So playing out from the back, think that. Then weeks 3 and 4 in the first month, we're going to be doing out of possession attacking third. So that's pressing from the front, setting pressing traps, all that kind of stuff. And you can do that for the final 2 weeks of the month. So for the first month, you can be working on the end of the pitch on one side, then the other, effectively, right? So month 2 then, we're going to be working on in possession middle thirds and then out of possession middle third. So nice and easy for us. First 2 weeks are in possession middle thirds. Last 2 weeks are out of possession middle third. That's pretty simple. And you're sort of just doing the opposite to each other there, same as here. And then month 3, we're going to be working on the first 2 weeks in possession attacking third now. So we're going to be working on creating chances, scoring goals, doing things in the final third. And then out of possession defensive third, so emergency defending in front of your own goal, that kind of stuff. So across the 3 months, you're going to have worked on each third and in possession and out of possession on each third, all within 3 months. So the way it's structured is like this. After the first 3-month periods, you then repeat it again in the next few months. So October, November, December, we do exactly the same thing in the same order, right? The only difference is that I've built in preseason into this schedule that I've done. So month 1 in July, when you're doing in possession defensive third here, there's actually a few more physical sessions than there is when you do it here in October. So I have actually factored in when the months are. In July and August, there's a lot more physical sessions. When you repeat them later on, those ones aren't there. But for example, I think that November and February are exactly the same. And so would be, I think, December and March. They're exactly the same. So some are exactly the same, but the earlier ones are different to the rest. And the reason they are coloured red, sort of orange, amber, and green is the following. So I think, right, you're trying to introduce new concepts to your players, right? And you're doing a new training program, you're doing some new ideas, some new concepts, a new game model, whatever it is, right? The first 3 months, when they're doing everything for the first time, they're sort of just been given the base learning, so they understand it. And let's say the players are like physically, psychologically, and tactically already at like a red level. So the second time around when they do it, they're going to be slightly better at it. They're going to understand it slightly better. So they're starting to get a better understanding of what you're asking from them. So we're going to see them do everything slightly better the second time around. There's less physical stuff as well. Then the third time that they do everything here, they're going to have really understood it and they're going to be really ready to apply the stuff that you've taught them and carry it through to the business end of the season. I'm talking more now about professional team here, and especially in FM, I'm talking about match familiarity and team cohesion. By the time you get to January, as long as your team isn't doing terribly, all these things should be fine, right? So we should expect our results from our philosophy, our playing philosophy, our England DNA, to just get better and better as the months go on. So yeah, by the time they come to January and they're doing everything for the third time, they're already becoming quite an expert at the things they're doing. That's the idea in the plan anyway. So they're doing everything 3 times across the season from July until March. So I did think then as well, right, okay, we've got a little bit left of the season. How do I want to fill that time? Do I just want to keep going through and end up having them do some bits for 4 times? Or do I want to do something slightly differently? And I was a bit undecided on how to do that. What I decided was that by the time this goes through, if you follow this week by week, I'll show you in the game in the second how it works. There's going to be basically the last week of March onwards is going to be outside of this schedule, right? So you've got the last week of March onwards. So in the game in a normal season, you look at maybe between 5 weeks left, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks left in the season, depending on if you're like a Premier League team or something, and in the playoffs if you're in a slightly lower league. There's different ways, but pretty much you're going to be done in that sort of period, right? So what I thought is, okay, when you get to this point, it really does become more about, I think, results at this point, right? At this stage of the season, you could be playing for trophies, you could be playing for promotion, you could be playing for cups. In any case, whatever you're playing for, the point is, after this point is when it gets really close and all the results matter a lot to how your season's going to end up. And it all becomes about winning trophies, getting results, right? So I thought, okay, rather than doing something 4 times but not others and trying to pick out which one's which, we've already got our individual learning training plan, which hasn't changed. Every time the player's going to progress and change on those things every 2 months. That still applies, but we're still doing that throughout this whole period. This is just the team training. So I thought, okay, they're going to be getting their individual training anyway. Why don't we just use the original England DNA week training and start to use it after March? And then they'll get somewhere between 5 and 9 weeks of that training, depending on what season we're in, what league we're in, that kind of stuff, right? But we're going to get them then between 5 and 9 weeks of training, playing just for matches and trying to get the results in at the end of the season. And I thought that was quite a nice balanced way to do it, because there are actually quite a few academies that have competitive tournaments that they play against each other, right? So in England in particular, I'm not going to name the clubs because I don't know how widespread the information is. It's probably well known, but just in case it's not, I won't name them. But there are a few professional academies in the south of England who have a specific tournament or two where those games are completely competitive. So how I said traditionally in academies that it's about player development first, results definitely come second in a lot of the player development age groups. There are some competitions they deliberately specify and set to be competitive, and the objective there is to win. And the reason for that is to try and teach players to be competitive and to find ways to win and to find ways to get success and to cope with the competitive environment and not have success. How do you cope with defeat? How do you cope with a 1v1 battle that you're not able to win? So I guess the trade-off for those academies is that they take away all that sort of like focus on just winning at all costs and taking all that development time away from their normal schedule. They make sure their normal schedule is just full of development. It's all about development of players. And then they have specific tournaments where they try and play to win that are like every 3 weeks or something. So, and I do like that. I like the fact that there is some sort of competition level in something, but it's taken out of the day-to-day coaching of the players. So if we apply that to this, it does fit, because if instead of doing it once every 3 or 4 weeks for us, we're saving it for the end of the season when the results are going to matter for us in Football Manager. So hopefully that makes sense. If there's any questions, do let me know in the comments about that. Hopefully I've explained it well. But yeah, just think sort of last week of March onwards, that's the competitive time. That's where we go back to our default schedule, our 1 week schedule, and we just do that to the end of the season and try and play for some more results. Well, they'll still be doing their individual training anyway, so they'll still be developing in the mold that we want, but just be it'll just be the individual training. But so yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Let's have a look at it now in the actual game and see how it actually looks in Football Manager. Okay, I don't know how many of these I'm actually going to show you, because it's going to be quite a long video if I do show you them all. But what I will do is show you a few of them and put them up for download so you can download them all yourself if you want to use them and see them all for yourself anyway. So this is England DNA month 1, week 1. So thinking back to the file that I showed you, that's going to be in possession defensive third. So it is, however, also the first week of pre-season. So there's a bit more physical in here than there will be later on in the season. So we start off the very first session of the pre-season with just an overall one, a generic one where everybody gets to play a bit of football, do a bit of generic stuff, ease everybody into it, and then we're straight into playing out from the back, straight on topic, straight on theme as we need to get going, and then onto endurance to finish off the first day. The second day, back to playing out from the back again, ball distribution, and then a bit of quickness, then ball retention, possession, and then some resistance, attacking patient, playing out from the back again, quickness, and then finishing off with overall chance creation, distribution. Now, in my pre-season, because I've got it set like this, I need to make sure that my games are every 7 days in pre-season, so I don't want to mess up the schedule unnecessarily. Now, I did think temporarily about doing like a 2-game week version of each of these, and effectively that would take absolutely ages. And to be honest, I'm going to wait and see exactly how it rearranges things before I try and preempt how I'm going to fix it. So basically, let's just see what the game does for us when it has 2 games in a week, and then we can start to review it maybe next season. That gives us another chance to then review things in the second season, or third season as it would be at the end of this one. So yeah, let's just wait and see on that. But for now, I'm just going to leave everything as it is and let the game and the assistant manager adjust the schedule for when we do get a game thrown in the middle. But pre-season, I'm going to make sure that I can control that. We'll have a game every 7 days as early as we can. Traditionally, I've always done it every 5 days. I don't really know why. It just feels right in the sort of default schedules. But for this regime and for this training schedule, we're going to do it once every 7 days. We're going to have a friendly. So on the Saturday, the Sunday will probably throw in a recovery day, then rest the other two, and we'll be back at it on the Monday. The one thing I might change to these schedules, all of them, is I might put a recovery session here on the Sunday. And the reason is, if we look at this here, and the reason is, if you click rest here, it has these few things going good, that's great, but it has team cohesion going down. But on recovery, it's not going down. In addition to sharpness not looking quite as red. So recovery is really better than rest. So to be honest with you, the one thing I'm going to probably tweak to what you're seeing here is I'm probably going to go through every single Sunday and make sure that we have recovery selected there. That's probably how it would look. That's going to be a match day, recovery, then rest. And what I would probably suggest there is that you make sure you don't have ticked give players rest after a match day. And I think I have that ticked right now, so I need to make sure I have that unticked. I'm probably going to go through and have to set this on every one of my schedules, of which there's a lot. So that's going to take me a long time. So if you happen to download my schedules and that isn't done, that is something that's supposed to be there, is recovery on Sunday. I just might not have done it the first time round because I've already saved them all as without it. So that was a mistake. Okay, so this is what week 3 would look like. So this is going to be week 3, month 1, which is going to be your first week of your out of possession in the final third. So we've got overall, again, on the Monday. Again, this is preseason, don't forget. Defending from the front, a bit of quickness. Defending engaged, defending from the front. Endurance, the ground defense, defending quickness. Resistance, defending disengage. Endurance, defending from the front. We get that in 3 times. Transition press and aerial defense. So we've got 2 full orange days there. This one's quite an intense day as well, but the other ones aren't as bad. And again, I've slid in a recovery on the Sunday, which I need to go through and do. I just added that in right now. So that's just 2 examples of what they look like. I think what I'll do is I'll show you at least one in every area of the pitch once, so you at least get that. So let's move on to month 2, week 1. So this is going to be in possession middle third here. So we are now, this is week 5 into the season, so still in pre-season here. So we've got overall ball retention, quickness, attacking patience, chance creation, endurance, attacking wings, possession, quickness, tactical, attacking patient, resistance, attacking overlaps, ball retention, and team bonding. It's the first time we've seen a team bonding appear. Again, and the Sunday would have had, again, a recovery. I've just not got those set in. But see, every time you see this, if you don't see a recovery on a Sunday, it's supposed to be there, just so you know, just so you're aware. But it's not going to appear whenever I load these up. So yeah, just imagine there's always a recovery there. But that's how it's going to look for us going into week 5. Pretty solid then. Effectively then week 3, month 2, week 3, we're going to have the opposite to this. So same area of the pitch, but out of possession. So here we've got quickness, defending engaged, defensive shadow play, then a bit of defending, tactical endurance here. On Wednesday, we've got defending disengage, ground defense resistance, defensive shape, aerial defense, tactical, then teamwork, transition press, and transition restrict. So again, week 6, still getting close to the start of the season, probably the week before the start of the season, and next week of training is going to be the final week. So month 3, week 1. So this is going to be in possession, final third. So right in front of goal, finishing that kind of stuff, right? So on the Monday, we've got attacking, chance conversion, and quickness. Tuesday is attacking direct, attacking movement, endurance. Wednesday is chance creation, attacking wings, attacking overlap. I put those 2 together. Resistance, chance conversion, team bonding, attacking patient, teamwork, and attacking movement. And yeah, we're into the season now, so I always try and make sure I get at least one of the teams on the Friday going into the game on the Saturday. Then month 3, week 3, we have out of possession, defensive third. Again, we're into the season here. So defending engaged, defending and quickness on the Monday. Tuesday is ground defense, defending wide endurance. Wednesday is tactical, aerial defense, physical. Thursday is defending disengage, transition restrict, and resistance. Friday is defensive shape, defensive shadow play, and defensive corners. First time we've seen a set piece thrown in months into the season. So again, we're maximising player development, so those sort of things get left behind a little bit. But yeah, and that's pretty much how it goes all the way through. There's little tweaks on each of them as you go through the months in the second and third time you see them because they're different parts of the season, right? And again, they're all going to have recovery on that Sunday to make sure that you balance that out. So yeah, luckily I can just click on it and click save, and I don't have to type in the name of the routine again because that would have been a disaster, but there we go. In terms of staff, I'm going to get a new head of youth. That's going to be something that I look to do in a second here. But I think what I'm going to do now then is I'm going to click through the entire preseason. We're going to get into the next season. We're going to try and play the first game of the season. But I want to try and get you at least a little view of how the preseason's gone, how the training's gone, if there's any early indication of what might happen. And next season's going to be unbelievable because not only are we going to be tracking the player development from our first team players, we've also got our new gens that have come through. And on top of that, we need to try and survive in the league. So we've got lots of things to play for. In terms of the new gen players that came through now, I'm going to try and avoid using them as long as I can in the season because it's better for them to develop in the youth team and to not play matches until they at least get to around 18 years old. So that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and not use them for the first year when possible. And in terms of training for them, I'm going to put them on exactly the same schedule as the first team. They're going to go on exactly the same thing as the youth team as well. They're going to get the exact same treatment. Also off camera, what you're going to probably just about miss is when I get the new money in for next season, the first thing I'm going to do is try and upgrade everything that I possibly can and try and get the facilities up as much as we can going into next season. But yeah, for now, that's going to do it. And I'll see you in a few months in the season. But that for now is going to do it. We'll come back in a few months when it's just at the end of the preseason and we're just about to start the next season, our first season in the championship. So I will see you then, and let's hope everything goes to plan. Okay, welcome back. So sorry if it looks a little different. This is actually the morning after the night before. I actually was playing through all the transfer. It took a bit longer than I thought it would do because I was looking so much at staff. I couldn't really get the staff I wanted. And the reason is, as you can see on the left-hand side, we managed to get ourselves an under-21s team. Yes, we got the board to finally agree to something. Basically, I asked for us to upgrade our youth category. They said no. I asked for basically every single thing you could ask for in this kind of save. I asked for one. They just said no. The only thing they said yes to was an under-21s team. So at least we managed to get that. So this is the staff we managed to bring in. Now, most of them are new gens. There's a couple that aren't. Basically, what I looked for, personality, working with youngsters, and determination were the three things I looked at the most first. And that's sort of what I went off for the coaches, at least. I had two brand new members of staff to come in as my head of youth, and both of them re-signed new contracts with the current club. So, unfortunately, we've still got our same head of youth, but hopefully that might change at some point. We managed to get our A license done. We've just actually asked the board to let us do our pro license, which I think they'll let us do. And I think that's pretty much everything. I've got all the schedules in for all the teams. The assistant manager's gone in and thrown in some differences. If we've got a midweek game, like for example here against Newport County, he's thrown in a rest either side of the game. But incidentally, he hasn't put in a recovery right after the game. So I might have to go through here and just look out for this and do it myself. So where we've got a game, that can't be defensive shape. That's going to have to be a recovery session. The same for Bournemouth here as well. It's got to be a recovery session. You'll notice as well that on the Sunday after the Saturday matches, I don't actually have recoveries because I just eventually decided to click through. I haven't really done it, but maybe I'll do it for the next summer. But that really should be a recovery session there on the Sunday, to be honest. But that's the thing I might do for the next season. Honestly, I spent so many hours trying to come up with how to do it, trying to put it together, etc. I just thought I'm just going to go with it as it is and do it maybe on the fly. We'll see how it goes. Other notable things are we got a couple of players that were out on loan last year. So one of them here is Lewis Malt. Now, Lewis Malt is basically Winnall from last season as last season. That's basically what he is. He's almost exactly the same. So him and Winnall are very, very similar. He's basically a younger, maybe slightly more rounded than Winnall, and the 21s are basically used the 21s. They have actually got themselves into a league this year, which I was surprised about. I thought the first year that I had it, it wouldn't put me in a league, but it did straight away, which is good. So they're actually in a league. I'm assuming this is going to be a slightly higher standard, so I might move my under 18s that are good up to the 21s, but for now I'm just going to see how it plays out for the first few games. But that's something we could investigate as well, whether we should leave them in the 18s or move them up to the 21s and all that kind of stuff. But what is good is it now allows me to play some of my first team players who aren't playing matches. They can now play matches in the 21s because they're both doing the same training schedule, and it's just the way the matches fall really for them. Early indications are that it's actually worked all right so far, but we'll see. Like Sam Hughes is liking it quite a bit. Here we go then. Today's episode, we're going to play Middlesbrough. We're going to skip Newport. We're going to play against Hull as well. So in the first two games of the season, we're going to really know just how far off we are in terms of level and how long of a season this is going to be. I really, really hope we stay up, to be honest. There's a couple of players that their contract expires at the end of this season, and I managed to offer them a new one, but the agent insisted on a release clause, a relegation release clause. So we could lose a few players next season if we were to go down, and that's the only way I could do it, right? If I was to end the talks now, for example, and in a few months' time somebody becomes interested in them, they may just never sign a new contract. So having them for 2 years with a relegation release clause is better than having them on a 1 year contract, but it's not ideal. Terry Taylor had two £2 million offers for him, and I rejected them both. He got really upset. So Terry Taylor, we could end up losing, but for now, he is on a contract until 2025, so he's got 2 years left on his current contract. But if he wants to leave to a bigger club now, if we were to go down, that's just a non-starter, isn't it? So yeah, basically, our youngster here, Heller, has got 2 years to get himself ready to play and replace him. It's not a good start, is it? So yeah, Terry Taylor is the new captain because John Brayford actually retired incidentally. I forgot to mention that, but John Brayford did retire. I tried to sign Brayford as a coach and he wanted too much money. So there you go. I couldn't even keep him as a coach. So Terry Taylor's the new captain. Sam Hughes is the vice captain, actually. So today's episode then, first game of the season, we're going to have Garrett in goal. Shaughnessy, Hughes and Hamer across the back. Yeah, Shaughnessy's going to get a run at centre-back because it allows me to get my best players into the team effectively. So then it allows me to play Lakin next to Taylor at CDM with then Smith and Keller at wing-backs with Powell, then Malt and Victor up front, moving Winnall to the bench. Yeah, obviously we have the youngster John King, who we want to use in the first team as early as possible. But, there he is, and he's going to be making an appearance, I would think, at some point quite early on. But I've got to try and let him develop. I can't just throw him into matches left, right and centre, so we'll see how things go early on. Right, I'm excited. Here we go then. Assistant manager says, don't say the media comment. The pressure is all on them, so what do we have to lose? Got them causing upset. Love that. Fighting talk from the assistant manager. Old Peter Marsden. 4-3-3 single pivot for them. Okay. By the way, the gap's going to be huge, isn't it, between us and the teams we play against. We'll see how we get on. I've not touched the tactic yet. I may change the mentality and a few other things. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. First highlight of the season. Right. They going behind Keller Dunn. He's got a wax up to Lewis. Malt. Is he going to get there? Headed in. Powell gets it. Malt. Powell, please. Victor's in. Surely, Victor. Oh, he's at the post. No. Set piece, Middlesbrough. Whacked in. Headed away. Just Smith's going to get there first as he does. What's he going to do with it? Hopefully pass it. Victor. Victor's got options with him. Smith. It's unbelievable. Steens, come on, please. Oh, no, Smith. That was terrible. Get back to your position then, Smith. Quick. Caledon wins it. Lacking. Straight into Victor. He's going behind Victor. And he scored. Come on, Burton. The Youth Academy Challenge is getting off to a great start in the championship. It's 1-0 to Burton. What a finish this is from Victor. And what a pass. We've not had a highlight against us yet. We've had 2 for us, but nice little trap there. He's got nothing on Mituma. Whacked in behind. Unlucky Sam Hughes in the red. And Victor scores to make it 1-0 to Burton. Come on, boys. Okay, highlight for Middlesbrough. They have another highlight that they start off with. They're going to get to it. They're not, are they? Smith's got to it. Shaughnessy. By the way, I've played like 2 less friendlies than I normally would by my new Saturday to Saturday schedule pre-season. So the team isn't actually as sharp as I would like it overall. But we'll see what happens. I mean, so far, the game's gone really well for us. But it could be that generally it will go against us early on. But this game, we're just getting away with it because Middlesbrough's tactic and players are just so not ready for the Burton football. Lacking. Oh, it's over. Okay, throw in here. Smith's going to take it. Throws it into Lacking. Lakin's going to take some touches. He's whipped in across. It's deflected away. Jones. He's lost it. Powell. Malt. Oh, and it's 2. Come on, Burton. We're going to stay at boys. No. That was too much. That was too early. We are 2-0 up, though. Come on. Pounced on the mistakes early doors here. I'm glad it's them, not us. We're forcing the mistakes. Get in there. That's it. Pressure him. Oh, look at that. It's heavy touch from him. Malt. He scores. 2-0 Burton. Also, things are going well. I'm actually shocked at the lack of chances they've created at 0.38 XG after 60 minutes. I'm really shocked. I thought we'd create chances. I said that last season. I thought we would create chances, but I thought we'd concede them as well. But so far, I think the small change to having Shaughnessy in that back 3 to give us 3 solid centre-backs and playing with our strength there first is definitely the way to go. And it also happens just to get the better players into the team, which is probably the idea of this, right? I think this tactic right now actually does suit the players we've got. After one season. It may not stay that way, but right now I think it does. We get our 11 best players into the team with this. And 11 best players into the team in a way where they can all play well and succeed. Like, if we played a system with wingers right now, I don't think we would do very well because Johnny Smith might be okay, but nobody else has really got the explosive pace and dribbling to be effective as a winger. Highlight here for Middlesbrough. They're going to build up on the right-hand side. They're left, our right. They go back to the goalkeeper. We've gone back down to balanced mentality. For what it's worth. Everson plays it short. They're going to have to go long now. Oh, he squeezed it in there. It's going to be close. Are they going to get through? They are. It's going to be an attack from Middlesbrough, you'd have thought now. Or maybe not. Oh, we've won it. Taylor. Oh, there was a 3v2 there. That was, we looked dangerous on the counter. Having that imbalance of reputation all of a sudden looks better for us. I don't know why. We look dangerous. Look a threat on the... We're in. Malt's in. It's 3. It's 3. I don't believe what I'm seeing. It's 3-0 to Burton Albion. What an unbelievable performance. That should be game over. Like, we win it here, and it's just Shaughnessy takes a little travel, plays to Victor. Victor takes a little turn. Giddigu just come on off the bench. What a ball that is. What a finish. 3-0. It's got to be game over. They're going to get around us for their first chance of the game. This is their first highlight, isn't it? And it's going to be a penalty. So, there you go. Combination of Latty Fairweather and the left centre-back give it away. But this should be still too late for them to come back. 3-1. And there you have it. Burton Albion win 3-1. First game of the season. I'm definitely proud of the performance. That's unreal. Right. Has that given you a bit of faith? It's given me a bit of faith about this season. We'll see. Right. I'll see you in a few days for the whole game. And we'll see if we can turn this into 6 points from 2 games. I'll see you then. Welcome back. So something I don't know if I touched on actually in the previous episode, or even earlier in this one, was the difference in what I did last year. So last year, what I normally tend to do, right, is on rest here, I have both these on double intensity. Normally before this point, for the last few years in FM, I've had both these on double. And then what I do is if I've got a game and I've got another game within 5 days, if it's 3 days later or 4 days later, I'll then rest everybody for 2 days. Now, the problem with that is if you've got 2 games a week for quite a lot of the season, that means that there's a lot of times where you're training only one time between games. Sometimes maybe none, if there's 3 days between the 2 games. And in a development-focused save, you can't do that. So what I've had to do is avoid resting players, at least, unless there's like a really important game early in the season, which I doubt there's going to be too many of those. And late in the season, when we're playing for results, which is past our like March period onwards, that's okay then. But like at this point early on in the season, I don't want to be doing that. If somebody gets too tired from playing too many games in a row, we're going to have to just rotate them, right? That's what we're going to have to do. I'm not going to stop them from doing 3 sessions just because they're a bit tired. I can't afford to do that. So that's one change I did there, and that's why I've dropped that to normal intensity. I've changed this so it's like this now. And then our schedule. And I've tried to basically factor in that we do a lot of physical stuff in the earlier part of the week, and then it gets easier as we go. But like, for example, now it's thrown in the late Orient game there. It's given us travel either side of it, which is okay. But then it didn't give us anything there. I had to put recovery in myself manually. If we look through some future games, where's the next midweek game? So again, here it's thrown in Millwall as a midweek game here. And it hasn't actually done what I thought it might do. I thought it might throw in a recovery session right after the game, but it hasn't. So I'm going to have to just look at that and see whether there's where I can just automatically set it up, or if I have to do, or if I do have to manually do it every time, which isn't ideal. I wanted to try and set it up so it was as easy for you as possible for those of you that are interested in it. But yeah, if that's one of the drawbacks, then that's a bit unfortunate. Cup game, we won 4-3. I rotated as many players as I could. 2 first-team players started, and they both got subbed off to keep them fresh. Winner scored a hat-trick, so that's good. We did concede 3. I think that Hawkins is not a very good goalkeeper, so if there's a long-term injury to Garrett, we might be in trouble, but what can we do? We can't do anything about that. Right then, second league game of the season, so we do against Hull City at home. I'm hopeful about this game. Oh yeah, by the way, the teams that came down then last season, we didn't really check that. So we've got Everton, we've got Fulham and Bournemouth as the 3 teams that came down last year from Premier League. Assistant manager says, make full use of home advantage. Okay. Right then, lads, what are they going to play against? We've got our system. I love this team at the moment. I love this team. I love this club. I love this save. I love all of you for watching. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I really enjoyed this save. And what have we got? A 4-2-3-1. Okay. Lakin plays out to Smith into Powell early on. He gets in his 1v1. Is he going to cross it? No, he's like a little De Bruyne, isn't he? On the left side, though, because he's left-footed. And over there, Taylor shoots and it's just wide. Highlight here for Hull City. They play it short to the left-hand side. And they play it in behind. It's could be danger for us. Traore has got it. Lakin's won it off him, though. So if they were to win this, it would put us back to square one a little bit, because we would have won a game we expected to lose, then maybe drop points in the game that we could have won at home to Hull. So, yeah, let's see what happens here. Anyway, we get the ball here with Hamer, who's going to hopefully not lose it. Good. Garrett's got it. Garrett's left-footed, though. Plays with the Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy's going to travel with this. Got loads of space. Get in behind. There we go. Nice run from Molt. I do like his runs that he makes. Smith plays in early. Keeper's dropped it, and it's going to be the end of the highlight, though, I think. No, Powell's won it. Victor. What in the Christ was that, Victor? Right, I'm not sure what's happening here, but just whack it in the box. There we go. Victor's in. It's going to be a goal, is it? Is he offside? He's not. Best football I've ever seen in my life. Victor, what a 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever that was. Absolutely unbelievable football. Completely designed by the manager off the training ground. 1-0 to Burton Albion. Shaughnessy just whacks it into no man's land. Powell says, I got this, boss, don't you worry. Smith whacks it into Victor, who was marginally offside, but it wasn't given. 1-0 to Burton. Do you dare to dream, and do you dare to believe that a promotion race won't be up there? It's not, I'm joking. Victor, maybe? Victor. Oh, he's missed it. No, if we can just start one and get on a good run, because I know what's going to happen. We went through it last season, right? We went through periods where we just couldn't win. Like the last 4 of the last 5 games, we just couldn't win. And that was in League One. We're definitely going through those same spells again this year. If we get 2 injuries to 2 of these players, we're in trouble. So basically, we need to maximise this run while we're on it. I think like if Keller Dunn got injured, we'd have an issue at right wing back. If Victor got injured for months, that'd be a problem. If Powell got injured for months as well, that'd also be a problem. Molt scores. He's offside though. We've absolutely battered these. We've had a 2xG, and that doesn't include a penalty. It's crazy. I'm thinking a Shaughnessy for Butcher, maybe. We'll do that. Keller Dunn with the throw-in, throws it into Winnall. Is he going to get there? He's not. They're going to go in behind. We're going to head it away. Victor's got it. The striker's both to one side. I don't like that very much. Though Winnall's now got to it. And gives it to Keller Dunn. Back into Winnall. Play it across goal. Winnall, don't you dare shoot from there. Keller Dunn. Whacks it in, the box is cleared. Can we get to it? Yeah, Sam Hughes, that's more like it, Sam. See, he's vice captain, he's loving it now. He's loving life in the championship. Winnall's in, long ball's in behind. Powell, over the bar. Time is ticking away last. What is it going to be? 4 minutes of added time. 3 minutes, 2... Oh, no, there's a highlight. No, come on, Burton, don't throw this away. They've got so many players forwards. They're in. It's absolutely calamitous, and they've scored. So that's an example, I think, of AI teams being slightly better going forward. You saw how aggressive they were right here. Let me just cancel this, go back. Absolutely flooding players forward there. And I did go to my defensive tactic, and we did try to see it out, but unfortunately, this time they're going to score. And they're going to get more... And that's going to happen more this year, where teams are going to get more aggressive against us, because we're seen as an underdog. And also, they're better players now. They're attacking players. They're more likely to score those late goals. But we'll just make some changes, I think, to make sure we're still a bit fresh going into the last couple of minutes here. It's going to be a draw. 1-1. So what did I learn from this episode? I learned straight away that the players that started and finished the cup game midweek were really tired for that game. Like, they wouldn't have started. I probably wouldn't have started them, and they still looked a little tired coming off the bench, a couple of them. So yeah, I'm gonna have to look at those 2 sessions maybe after a game. Maybe it's rest then recovery, and when you do one on the day after the match. So I have to pay attention to that. I'll look again next time. I'll make sure I take an actual proper look before and after. Yeah, I think next episode we'll try and come back for where there's... Tell you what then, let's do it. Let's play... Okay, purely to test the tiredness, let's do a 3-game episode next episode, and let's do Bolton, Millwall, and then Reading. And the reason is Bolton's Millwall, there's a 4-day break between the games, right? Then Millwall to Reading, there's only a 3. And let's just see what the tiredness is like between those 3 games, between the teams. Hopefully we don't get through in the cup and that messes up the schedule. In any case, the next episode will be a 3-game episode, and I'll try and find a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, or a Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday sort of situation. And we'll review the tiredness and see if we need to tweak something there. And at least you can then see with me what we notice, and it's like an experiment then, isn't it? And see how we get on. But that's going to do the episode. We finish the episode 5th in the league. I don't know what to make of it. There's a chance that we just got really lucky early on against Middlesbrough, and we played really well against Hull. We absolutely battered them and still only drew at home. So maybe that's going to be a problem going forwards. But in any case, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate all your support. And apart from in the outro where it just says, subscribe, etc., I never ask for it, just because I think it's a bit annoying when somebody asks you, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hate that. But I just want to say thank you to all of you that have subscribed, and everybody that leaves a like and comments. It means so much to me to be able to see what you're thinking, because I guess I know on the one hand, if you're coming back and watching every time, I know that you're enjoying it, but to hear specifically what your thoughts are on the series or anything about the actual way the series is being done, I absolutely love all of it. And as you've seen in the last few videos, I've made sure that I reply to every single person if I can. I say the phrase, I genuinely appreciate it a lot. And the reason is that it's the only word I can think of that's mean that I genuinely appreciate it, right? It really does mean something to me. It's not just me replying for the sake of it. I really do genuinely appreciate all of you for your comments and support on the channel and the series, especially recently. It's been incredible. So a massive thank you from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.